Oh, flying in here. You see that move? Flying into 22. I've been wanting to do that since we started doing these. What's going on? This is Aaron Price, the CEO of TechUnited. With me is Jasmine Hoffman, our head of experience. You got to do it, right? I mean, come on.
You got to go for it. Not only is it a new year, but it's a Friday. It's all of the good energy. It's perfect for flying.
Agreed. That's what I was thinking. So, we've got a lot of things in store for this 2022 year, but I think we should do a little recap on last year, on the break, how we're doing. Like, what's new in your life?
Wow, what's new in my life? Not a whole lot. Like everyone in the new year, I'm trying to be more fit and healthy. So I've been going back to the gym, eating a little healthier, having some more greens. That's always good. So I would say that's probably
always good. Are you a dry January participant?
You know I'm not.
Yeah, I know. I know you're not. But I am.
But you are.
Funny you bring that up, Jasmine. I'm doing that actually. Yeah, I'm being dry in January.
Round of applause for Aaron being better than everyone else.
You said it. What any big news or big things for you over the break? We had a very aggressive, jam-packed 2021 professionally. Were you able to decompress and take some time and reset?
I sure was. Yeah. It was really nice to have some time off for the break, see some family. I read a ton of books, really just unplugged. And I know everybody says that, but it really does make a difference. Just a couple of days of really just taking a break and just resetting your mindset. So that was really nice. I had some exciting news, like in my family, a couple babies, couple engagements, like a lot going on with the family, which is always exciting, and lots of good stuff to look forward to in 2022. So personally, that's exciting. And professionally, I feel like super recharged, ready for this year. What about you?
Are you a New Year's resolution type person? Do you have any resolutions?
I do have a few resolutions. I admit I didn't make them until last week, like the 10th. But I did make them. Made them in January.
Are you willing and eager to share them with the millions and millions of viewers we have watching us right now?
I'll cherry pick a few. And they really build. I will say I made resolutions for 21, and some of my 2022 resolutions build on them. I have some financial goals in place. I really want to do better with investing across different accounts and really leveraging, especially retirement savings opportunities that are taken advantage of the younger you are. So that's a big one, is being really conscious of opportunities to build wealth in the future and have a healthy retirement when I'm 100. Whenever I stop working, so that's a big one.
Is there something you're trying to tell me here?
I'm probably never going to retire, is really what I mean. So this money is just going to sit in an account somewhere. Yeah. So that's the one. I think that's super important, especially like for young women to really understand like what opportunities they have to grow their financial independence. Something I learned pretty young, and I'm pretty grateful for that. That's a
What's
big
the number
one
financial mistake you find that some of your peers make?
I think the biggest mistake is not opening up a diversified portfolio. So not taking advantage of 401ks, Roth IRAs, regular IRAs, brokerage accounts, high yield savings accounts. A checking account is just not it anymore. There's tons of opportunities to leverage savings and put your money to work. So I think the biggest mistake is letting your money sit in a checking account and not doing the bare minimum, at least of putting in a high yield savings or in a super safe, ETF where it can get, 8-10% a year. It's important to let your money work for you.
Potentially, yeah. Especially, as you pointed out, potentially.
Some of us have had 50% portfolio growth in 2021.
Some of us have we? We're not here to give financial advice, just to add the disclaimer for the lawyers watching. Yeah. Those are all good things. So financial milestones you have in place. What else you got for resolutions?
I would like to be able to do 30 push-ups in one shot.
Oh, well, so now that's going to be our LinkedIn Live thing. Yeah. We're gonna track.
Catch me back here December 31st, 2020.
How are we doing? What are you up to right now?
I can do 11.
11's good.
I'm getting there. I haven't done very much working out, so it's a slow start, but it's
It's all
definitely
right. 11's,
doable.
that's why we set these goals.
Pre-COVID, I could do 26, so I'm trying to really get to 30.
Yeah. When I
So
was 18, I could do like 15 push-ups. So, I mean, pull-ups. So I'm with you on that.
yeah, pull-ups are hard. So starting slow and something that I can do in the house too. So I can practice, and at least like if I don't go to the gym, I can get some movement in, which I think is helpful. So those are two cherry-picked Jasmine goals for the year.
If you are watching us on any of our various social media, leave a comment. LinkedIn, especially the platform we use, we pull in LinkedIn comments. We're not actually on LinkedIn, but wherever you are, leave a comment. Especially if you're looking for financial advice from Jasmine or exercise advice, and we'll try to weave it
Neither
into the
certified in
discussion.
neither finance nor fitness, but I'm here to help.
Exactly.
Looking
So
for an unlicensed person.
what was your what's your highlight professionally that stands out to you from 2021?
I would say my professional 2021 highlight was producing Propelify, knowing first off that it's something that you created out of tons of blood, sweat, tears, and Bruce Springsteen songs. It's important to me to do it and to do it well. And so producing Propelify and getting to be able to create that experience with the team was probably my biggest accomplishment of 2021. And partially because I had been with TechUnited at that point for 18 months. I mean, I joined right prior to the pandemic. And so it was the first opportunity that we all had together to even do something in person with the community. So being
Which is
able to
nuts. Yeah.
accomplish something that you started and take the reins and have your trust that it's going to come out well, and also be able to do our first in-person activation with our community, I would say that was probably my biggest highlight.
And it went really well. It was a lot of fun and good to be with everybody. What was once again unanticipated? What's a surprising moment? I know we've talked about this before, but I always am curious what stands out. Like what's a surprising moment for you about Propelify and that whole experience?
On a funny note, the fact that they let me set the fireworks off was quite surprising.
That was awesome. There
That
really
was
are no
awesome.
rules or many laws that exist in our little village that is Propelify for
But
the
if
couple
you
days.
are listening, we did follow all of the rules set forth by our city permit and the Hoboken
That is
Police
true.
Department. So
Okay, there are some
thanks for that.
rules that some of us follow. No, there are
Yeah.
rules. But that
So
was
that
very
was one.
cool.
That was great. Yeah.
I have never been permitted. I never asked, but I've also never done that. That seems like that's a bucket list item.
Yeah. And that's surprising because you're a very much like shoot for the moon, like do what
It
people
hasn't
don't
crossed
do.
my
I'm
mind.
surprised.
I'm maybe this year I get to push. You'll let me push the button.
I'll let you push the button this year.
It was fun. That was very cool. So Jasmine has put together a really robust program for us for this year, and not just put together, but planned the dates, and we kind of have it all figured out in a way that organizationally we hadn't really been prepared for in the past. I'm really, really pleased with that. What are some of the things that you're excited about for this year?
I'm going to flip this around on you, so I'll make my answer brief. But I'm looking forward to another year of Propelify. But more than that, and perhaps a part of that, is expanding on our Better X programs. So over the last couple of years, those partnerships have grown. The impact has substantially increased in the way that it's incentivized and mentored and catalyzed the startup community. So really looking forward to seeing the Better Planet program with PSEG grow, our Better Wellness program with RWJ Barnabas grow, and to introduce some of our other Better X programs like our Newark Focus Challenge with Audible and a few other opportunities we have up our sleeves to really leverage technology to build a better future for all. So I would say that is what I'm also most looking forward to.
Those are
What
going
would
to be
you
good things.
say
Agreed.
are your exciting moments for the year?
Well, as you know, one of the major initiatives of TechUnited this year is launching a startup studio called Better Future Labs, and we've got some early funds committed to that. We're raising additional capital for that. Launching that program is probably the big thing I'm most eager to see happen and excited for. Definitely Propelify, definitely like, for people behind the scenes, what's happened is, I came into the role here a little over 2 years ago, and I feel I'm very proud of the organization and the operational structure that we now have in place. I think it's really clicked this year. And so I'm excited to see, like, you're way ahead of the game on our plan, and we've already got many things going. They're many, many months away. So I'm excited to see how that plays out, and how, with a little more sort of headroom, how can we make some of these experiences better? How do we make our mentorship program better? How do we, like you talked about, grow upon the Better X programs? We've got awesome partnerships with a bunch of big corporates, and I think it's raising the bar, for the community overall, right? Like, the TechUnited, our members, these corporations, some very large corporates, some very impressive startups, all, and everything in between. I think the EDA is putting out, if people aren't familiar with it, the Innovation Evergreen Fund. I think that shows a lot of promise. So there are many things. Between the biggest is probably that startup studio.
For those that aren't familiar, what is a startup studio, and what's its differentiation from an accelerator?
Good question. Studios come in many shapes and sizes, and so fundamentally, a studio is more about launching companies from day one versus potentially investing in them very, very early. And so what we plan on doing is working with our corporate partners, identifying some of their pain points, and then building companies that solve them. And obviously, we do that in New Jersey. We're doing that with many university partners. So we're working very closely with the existing strengths in the region, and then putting capital behind these companies to make sure that they can get to a certain level of sustainability before they go out and raise an A round. So HIMS has come from a studio. The tool that used to be Google, that has turned into Google Photos, has come from a studio. There's a whole host of really impressive companies that have come out of these kinds of programs. And I also think it's exactly what New Jersey needs to leverage our strengths, bring us together, and then build companies here, which obviously has a major economic impact as well. So I'm really pumped about that. We are looking for a managing director. If anybody's watching knows anyone who's an experienced entrepreneur who's got some investment experience, that's the profile of the person we're looking for this program. But anyway, long answer, but that's what a studio is, and that's what I'm most pumped for.
Would you say your experience as a founder is partially why launching labs is something that you're really taking on as CEO, and why you're spending so much time and effort to really bring it to this region?
Well, my entrepreneurial experience definitely has a lot to do with this, because I have built companies built products that didn't have a need, right? I've put things in market that were sort of nice to haves, that weren't major pain points. So that's one area where if I knew what was going on inside the doors of one of these larger corporates, that they said, here's a major area where we spend a lot of money and time, and generally when I have a business issue where I say to myself, that was a giant pain in the ass, I make a list of these things, because they often can be businesses, and that's what I'm hoping we can formalize a process to surface some of these things. So spinning my wheels too long on building product, on recruiting, on funding. I'm hoping we can solve a lot of those issues, and then empower that founding team to build as fast as possible, to get feedback as fast as possible. That's another thing. Like, I've gone on too long.
Iterating. Yeah,
I've gone on for many, many more months than I should have in some things, where I should have pulled the plug earlier. This is going to force that process to happen. Yeah. So, yes, I do. A lot of what I've a lot of my experience, I think, does inform a part of this program, but we also are looking, there are many really, I think this is the next wave of, broadly, these are under the sort of accelerator umbrella. And I think this is the next wave of what's going to happen in the early stage kind of seed funding space. And I'd love to see New Jersey have not just ours, but a bunch, or, I'm hoping, as you know, that we launch a bunch of these around the state. So I'm pumped. I think it takes our program, and it's a next logical step. We have the community base, we have the investment base, we have the institution and corporate base. Well, how do we bring it all together so that it's not just an event, but actually we can form an entity, help it grow and thrive by leveraging all the best of what the region has to offer. So very, very, very excited about that. It's going to be great.
Yeah. we're looking forward to seeing how it unfolds. I think it's going to be big. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So we're hiring also. I know you're leading the charge there. Anything to mention on
Hiring.
what we're looking for?
Yeah, we're hiring for an operations coordinator who would work super closely with our entire team. And we're looking for someone who's got a couple years of experience, who is able to stay super organized, able to prioritize and work across multiple departments and projects, and who has a strong sense of not only accountability, but flexibility. And of course, the final piece of the puzzle is fun. So you want someone who can work hard, play hard, knows when to do both, and who's comfortable really working with a small and agile team that has been doing a lot of really good stuff.
Would
So
you say
apply on our
that?
LinkedIn. Your first interview would be with me. So bonus points if you mention this LinkedIn Live.
Oh yeah, good point. And here's a comment to go with it.
There it
Um,
is.
so what do you find that surprises you about people? We've had lots of applications, and I'm always shocked about how these processes unfold. But like, what are some of the unusual things you've seen happen here?
I would say it's not as much unusual as surprising. And to be fair, your wife actually brought it up this week as well. Um, but the fact that folks don't send a thank you note after the interview, you don't need to say much. Thanks for the time. Great learning about the company. Here's something I didn't get to say, or here's an interesting idea I had based on our conversation, or let me know what next steps are. Like the lack of the thank you note, I think is pretty surprising. It's something you do in business no matter what. So when a candidate doesn't send one, it's always pretty disappointing.
Yeah,
On the interview side, no questions is a big thing that tends to disappoint me as well. It's not. I tell everyone up front we're gonna reserve plenty of time to ask questions about the role, the team, me, how you might fit in, expectations, metrics. I really open it up at the very beginning of the call to give them the opportunity to think of a couple if they haven't. And so I've had candidates that have beautifully written list of 8 questions that they run through, and that's great. But the folks that say, no, I'm good, it's pretty shocking. I've just
yeah,
downloaded 45 minutes worth of information on a multifunctional role on your initial interview, and there's no questions you have about how you might be measured, when you might start, where the office is, like even just tactical questions we like to hear. So showing an interest in the organization is certainly not a weakness. It doesn't show you're not listening or you're not prepared. It shows that you've been thinking critically about the opportunity. So asking
yeah.
questions, sending a thank you note, doing things that really show that you're engaged are big plus ones in my book.
Agreed. I've been getting a text from Andrew who's watching, who wants to know if I saw his text. And I thought rather than like the covert messages that he was trying to get me to do, I would just say hello in case he doesn't have the audio on. But hi Andrew, congrats on selling your company. He just exited his business last week,
Oh,
so that was a big one. Um,
ooh, that's exciting.
it is exciting. Maybe we'll have him
We've
on
had
sometime
Andrew
soon.
on LinkedIn Live, right? He did one
We
with
we
us a while
have
ago. We
this
should bring
this
him
this
back.
is this is that Andrew. Yes.
Yeah.
But to go back to your interview stuff, um, questions about the organization are not just for the hell of it, but to show you care about this role versus you're just looking for a job. At least with TechUnited, we're looking for
Correct.
people who are interested in this particular role in this particular organization. Same thing with follow up, right? Like we're very much an organization built upon accountability. Like we don't just need a nice note to make us feel good. We want to make sure that you feel this sense of sort of closing the loop. So it's a signal towards how you might perform inside the organization, right? So
For
I
sure.
agree with some of those things, right? Or when
No
you say to
thank you.
someone,
No,
"Hey,"
no next interview. Sorry.
or like, "Here's how to apply, do these couple of steps," and if they don't follow those steps, like that's
Yeah.
always a little concerning.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. I'm sure we'll find someone awesome very soon. I know we may have some awesome people in the mix already. We're still
Hmm.
working through it. So in case you happen to have applied and you're watching this, like we didn't already pass on all these people that are still in the queue. Just observations in general of the process we're here and in the past. So um, we've got kind of a quiet January for the community. We certainly have some programs going on, but what can people expect at least over these next couple of months?
Over the next couple of months, we do have office hours. So we've got office hours on January 27th with TriNet. So if you want to learn a little bit more about sorts HR and PEO, you can apply for a slot for our TriNet office hours on our website. I think they're filling up quickly. So if that's something you're interested in right away, I would point you towards that. for everyone else listening, generally, we will do office hours with different companies throughout the entire year. Next month, we're going to be opening up the nominations for the Catalyst Awards, which we'll be announcing in May. Another one of our major marquee experiences that we are, fingers crossed, doing in person. And we will provide 14 different award opportunities to recognize leaders, innovators, and our favorite type of people, instigators, in
We do
the
like those
tech
people.
community. So looking forward to that. That'll be in May.
Would you
Other than
consider
that,
yourself an instigator, Jasmine?
I'd say like it depends on the day. How much coffee have I had? How many emails have I read through? And it's a bit of a precise science. I would say like a 60-40 instigator to something else. I don't know what the other side of that coin would be.
When I first met you, I thought you were more of an instigator, but you're less so than I had anticipated, which is probably a good thing because I'm very much an instigator. So that's it's a lot of
the whole yin yang thing.
It's just a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
So,
how you holding up with pandemic times? Tired of pandemic times, Jasmine. That's how I'm holding
I'm
up.
pretty tired of it. Was able to, see some family in that period before it got really crazy, which is good. Been lucky that no one that I know has been sick or like been too affected by this. So that's been good. But definitely looking forward to this passing. And hopefully this is just a small part of our reality, not the forefront of our minds and our lives going forward. How about you?
I'm doing fine, fortunately, but something for me changed in January where I think I was accepting of it all and it was working okay. And I guess we did some events in December and I was feeling good, and especially because of my kids and I want to keep them in school and some other immunocompromised people in my life. I'm really not doing anything, and I'm feeling it much more intensely now than I think the prior 2 years of this. I'm like really fed up, but it seems like the world is that's not exclusive to me. I think most of us are tired of this crap, but we will do our best to see all of you in person as soon as we possibly can. That's definitely the intention. We always make sure we maximize safety efforts. I guess in closing, anything else people should be aware of, should pay attention to, should follow us on social about, should post around, etc. Any final thoughts before we close out the week?
Definitely follow us across social. Anna Mazumdar, our manager of marketing and experience, has been doing more and more to feature tweets and posts and feedback that we get on social in our newsletter, which gets read by 30,000 people weekly. So that's a great opportunity if you're looking for a little extra exposure and engagement. So definitely follow us across social. If you're not subscribed to our weekly download newsletter, we'll definitely get into that as well. We share everything coming up and everything that our community needs to know, as well as recapping some of our great content pieces like our recent PR podcast with Peter Harris. Other than that, keep an eye out for office hours, our Catalyst Awards nominations. We'll be introducing Startup Showdown 2022 episodes shortly. So we'll be bringing back that pitch show. So if you're a startup looking to fundraise, definitely keep an eye out for that. And I think that's probably enough for people to do right now. But if you follow us on social, subscribe to our newsletter, and make sure you're in the loop. And if you're not a member, make sure you hit Dan up to become one. He's in the comments, so you can just ping him right here on LinkedIn. I would say that's enough to keep people busy for the first couple of weeks of the new year.
Going into the long weekend, Jasmine, for those who are not having a dry January, what is your drink recommendation for the weekend?
My drink recommendation is not just the regular Negroni, Stanley Tucci's Negroni. TM, copyright Stanley Tucci. This Negroni has slightly different ratios than the regular one of Campari, sweet vermouth, and gin. Nice little twist of orange, a big ice cube. Highly recommend for a nice, relaxing winter cocktail.
And with that, we hope that you enjoyed this episode, launching the year on LinkedIn or wherever you are in social media. And Jasmine, this is my first high five, my first virtual high five of the year. Are you ready for this? In the count of three.
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3. Boom. We'll see you soon. Anna, you can take us out of here.